welcome to Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. I'm Steve Swat, and this is the Sacramento Report. My guest this segment is Bob Blumenfield, who is a member of the State Assembly from the San Fernando Valley. Thanks very much
for
being here. I know you are very interested in zero-emission cars and plug-in hybrids, and you have a number of pieces of legislation that deal with them. And let me step back and say California, of course, has a goal that by 2025, 15% of all the cars sold in California would be zero-emission or plug-in hybrids. It's getting off to a pretty slow start, though, isn't it?
It is, and that's why I've introduced a package of bills, several bills designed to really incentivize the use and production of electric vehicles. I think it's incredibly important to meet our state goals, and it's good for our environment. It's good to get us off of fossil fuels, and so that's why I'm committed to that, and has offered a package of bills to do that, just that.
Let's talk about a few of them. One deals with high occupancy on the toll roads. And toll roads, right now, there are very few of them, but we're seeing an expansion, aren't we?
We are. On the toll roads, we have a situation where, well, let me step back. On the carpool lanes, we had previously allowed electric vehicles, zero-emission vehicles, to go in those lanes with one passenger. A lot of those vehicles are being changed into toll roads. And the question before us now is, when we make that change, do we still honor the commitment to allow those electric vehicles to go onto those new high-occupancy toll roads for free? And I say, yes, we should, for a limited period of time, for a very small number of vehicles that are under the white and green sticker program, because that will keep the incentive going so that the manufacturers will continue to make these cars and people will continue to buy them, which is a huge financial boost for California.
This bill passed the Assembly, but it was a purely partisan vote. And the opponents say, well, when you do that, you will reduce the amount of revenue that you generate, and also make that road, that one lane, much more congestive.
Well, it's the folks who are making the congestion argument are doing so not understanding the whole concept of congestion pricing. These it's a new way of pricing these so that it's not designed as a revenue model, but designed to keep the flow of traffic going at the maximum speed. So they basically raise the revenue when there are more cars on it so that fewer cars will be incentivized to go on it, and they lower it when there are less cars. So when you have these very few electric vehicles on those roads, if that creates a few more vehicles, that may raise the price ever so slightly for the other cars, but it's not going to change the overall congestion. And keep in mind, we're only at the maximum, we're talking about 0.002% of vehicles, a very small number of vehicles compared to the number of cars in California. But it's enough of an incentive that it really helps boost the production and purchase of these vehicles.
You have another bill designed to boost the purchase that would help car owners in terms of their financing.
Yeah, it was interesting. One of the things doing the research for this, we tried to find out why aren't people just buying these things off the shelf? What are the stumbling blocks to getting more people into these electric vehicles? And one of the interesting things I found was that a number of people were comfortable financing the vehicle, but then when they found out that they'd have to separately finance a charging station if they wanted to get the quick chargers into their garage, that made it much more cumbersome and prevented a lot of people from doing it. So we went to the dealership and said, well, why don't you fold this into your car payments? And they were actually prohibited by law from doing so. So we're changing the law to specifically allow them to roll into the financing cost of those vehicles the cost of a home charging station.
All right. Well, that's great. I know you've got other legislation, but we're out of time. But Bob Blumenfield, thanks for coming by, talking about this really important and emerging issue.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to working with you and talking with you in the future.
All right. And thanks to our viewers for watching Local Edition on Time Warner Cable. We hope to see you next time.